Hi, I'm Suki. Welcome to Getting Psychic, where you can listen to me use myself to test the theory that anyone can get psychic. Hello and welcome to Getting Psychic. I'm your host Suki and I'm here with a return guest, my friend Tamara Andrews Pasick. Welcome, Tamara.
Well, thank you. Thank you for the lovely welcome from Oregon.
Woo! Oh yeah, this is our first recording in the same. Well, wait, no, it's not the first recording in the same time zone, but we're reunited in a different time zone because you now live in Arizona and I now officially live in Portland, Oregon. Ding!
Woo!
It's great. Okay, so the impetus for this episode kind of comes from my move because I moved to this house that's on this land and I was very drawn to the energy of the property when we came to see the house. And it's very funny to me because originally Robert and I said, okay, we'll buy this house and fix it up and rent it out and move on. We've officially been sleeping in it like for almost 3 weeks. We just got our stuff a couple days ago and I fell in love with it by day 3. And I knew that this is our home. And I think I told this little story before, but the last time we were here visiting and randomly looking at places, our realtor didn't even look at this place or find this place for us. Robert found it and said, hey, there's this place nearby. Let's go check it out. I think it's empty, so I think we might be able to snoop around. And so we walked around the yard and I just kept saying, oh, this yard feels really good. This I was like baffled by the actual energetic experience that I was having walking around the yard. And then I was driving with my kids and they were both sleeping because I took them on a little day trip. And I was thinking, are we supposed to buy that house? That weird wooden stinky house? Are we supposed to buy that? And then I heard how you felt there is the answer. And I was like, duh. Like our emotions are directives sometimes.
It's your higher self talking to you.
Yes. Cause I was like very emotionally responsive to just walking around in the yard. And that's not necessarily normal. So anyway, we're here and we were here for maybe 3 days. And I was like, dude, we can't rent this out. This has to be our home. And I know it's going to be amazing. And then I'm like, this view is so incredible. My life is ruined. I can't live anywhere without this view. And how are we going to build an ADU and rent that out in the backyard? Because I don't want to obstruct this view. And Robert was like, well, I already figured it out. We can actually build it on the side driveway and they won't even interact with us. And I was like, yes. So everything is it just fell into place. And it's really interesting that oftentimes your higher self knows what's what long before your intellect catches up.
That's for darn sure. It's really funny because as you were going through this experience, and I remember you saying, "Wow, it just feels really good here." We weren't really looking for a house; we're just checking stuff out. But we're about a year and a half here into northern Phoenix area, and the same kind of thing, similar, happened with me because I had 2 dreams, very vivid dreams, and you were in it. And several of the people that went on the Costa Rica retreat several years ago were in it. And one of our group, Vera, is standing in front of us and she's motioning alien interdimensional spaceships in. She's like, this way. She's like, come on in here. And they're over a mountain. It's not a massive mountain, but it's a mountain. And then I do a meditation like a month later and I see it again. So we're looking for houses here, made an offer, fell through, our third visit here. We walk in this house. I walk into the backyard and I turn around and there's the mountains I saw in my dream.
Oh my God.
There's the mountains. And I'm just looking for the spaceships. And they're like, not yet, not yet. But they looked at it and I'm like, I don't care what this house looks like. It was way over our budget. It's way bigger than we need, but we're here. And I knew energetically walking outside, this is the place. This is the place.
It's so crazy. Well, this episode is intended to be about home clearing and land clearing. And I want to like tiptoe into that with you because I know that you have like a very deep understanding of those topics. But really quickly, while we're on the subject of home finding, I kind of wanted to touch on the fact that I realized during this process of moving and making a huge transition in a really a quick amount of time. One of our mutual friends, Gracie, presented the idea that homes are sentient to us. And she said, I heard this thing that you can even ask your current home to find your new home.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I do
And
remember
so,
that.
yeah, and so I did it and I did a meditation and I think like that actually played a part in all of this happening so fast too. And also the place being the place without me really even fully knowing it. Like sometimes I guess you would think if you're finding your home that you're meant to be in, you would be like, "Yes, this is it." But sometimes there's like a lag.
There's a lag, and sometimes you get misdirected too. Like you said, you were like, this feels good, whatever. It's going back to what Gracie said. You know, you can ask your house. I actually loved that, and it got me. And you did that. You had the two houses connect, which I loved. But it made me remember when we moved out here. We wanted a decent price for the house. Who doesn't want a decent price? But I had put so much love and so much work into that house, as you and Robert did in the house in Chicago. I'm looking at the old postings you have of when you were starting to turn that one around. And I just wanted someone to come in and love this house as much
Yeah.
as we did. And even my husband Steve says, he goes, Tamara, if we lose 10,000, 20,000, whatever dollars, he goes, but it's the right people. He goes, I'm okay with that. We want the right people, and damn if it didn't happen. These
Yeah.
people came in, the husband came in, and he's like, yeah, I got to go home and tell my wife she's going to love this place. And they were the ones that got it. And we still communicate with them. It's just a beautiful thing. So the houses, you putting that intention out there and understanding that they are sentient, I 1000%, I've experienced it. You
Mhm.
experienced it. It's a beautiful thing. And I know that opened. And once we did that, it opened the pathway for this house to be found.
Yeah. It's like you can ask your house to help you call in the exact right buyer, and you can ask your house to also find your next house. It's actually already found. It's actually already connected. I mean, I know that I say a lot of crazy stuff on this podcast, and for some reason that one sounds particularly hard to swallow for me, but I don't care. It's true.
I had never heard that before either, but I believe it because I've experienced it in a slightly different way than you did. But you literally put it into practice and it happened. Boom, boom. And they were talking to each other. I firmly believe that.
So yeah, if you think about this in the sense that like um uh there are a lot of psychics, and I believe anyone could do this, obviously, but people who can like touch an object and talk to you about The practice is called psychometry.
Yep.
And, you give me your grandma's glasses and don't tell me anything. I could hold them and do like an energetic read, at least get some emotion, some images, whatever. And it's not because the glasses are necessarily like a living being, but it is because like objects absorb energy of people, situations, and times. So if you think about that and apply it to a home that is just a container for years of life and experience and like bringing home babies and raising them and people screaming and crying and laughing and making friendships. You can't tell me that if a pair of grandma's glasses has an energetic imprint, that a home doesn't just have a whole energetic existence of its own.
Yeah, absolutely. And but based on that description there, obviously you've been to my house. The yelling, the screaming. I'm like, yep, yep, yep. Check that one off. Yep. Yeah, but they do. But it's not just the house, it's also the things inside the house. It's also the land that the house is on. It's the things that are on the land. And I actually have some, I was thinking about this as we were very quickly getting ready to do this. I actually have some really good stories about things that have happened within houses and in the yards and stuff, which I'll do during the podcast. But really interesting, really interesting.
All right. Well, that leads me to kind of tiptoeing into our subject, which is the energy of homes and the energy of land, and how to not necessarily like get rid of bad energies or, battle against anything that you're working with, but just help transmute and heal even. And you're very experienced with land work. And so I want to ask you to give a little breakdown of your experience with that, how that came into your life, and how you put it into action today. And then I want to sort of give functional tips for people to apply on their own.
Okay, so we want to talk mainly about the land more than the house itself, right?
Well, I want to do both because I think that like there's no point in separating the things because it's about the energies of spaces. But I'm asking you first about
Oh,
you have like a big focus on land work and land clearing, and I want to just quickly, you're going to have to explain how that came to be and how it functions in your life right now.
so I actually think that this started a long time ago. I was born in a very small farm town. Like it was a town. It wasn't, it was an area. It didn't even have a city or anything. And I could not wait to get out of this town. I knew I wanted to get out. I knew I wanted to be out of the state of Ohio. So many things I wanted to do. Took a random trip. Well, not a random trip. I took a year to go live in Mexico when I was in university. And I was so excited. I don't even know how I even chose to do that. No idea. No idea. But I did. And I, at that time, happened to, the pyramids there, La Pirámide de Luna and Del Sol were both there. And at the time, it wasn't cordoned off. You could walk up the steps. You could go into the pyramids. You could do anything you want. Might give a little inkling as to how old I am, but yeah. So I did, and I was trying to talk my friends into going in. Let's go in, guys. Let's go in this little opening. And they're like, no, 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 no. And I'm like, yeah. And in my head, I remember thinking, I know exactly where to go in here. You go down here. You take a little left. You'll go down. And I knew exactly where to go. And they didn't feel they did. They go, no, we're not allowed to. But I think it was more than that. I don't think they felt. They think they felt kind of the heebie-jeebies, you know. And I'm like, yeah, let's go in. Didn't understand it at the time. Didn't understand it. Fast forward a couple decades. I've now traveled 35 countries, I think, lived in several. And I started doing, I guess you could call it land work, grid work, People have all different kind of names in it, but I lived in England for 15 years. And during that time, there are stone circles, standing stones, energetic places in every part of the world. But there are an unbelievable amount in the United Kingdom, just an unbelievable amount. And I just started going to them. And the first one I went to was called Nine Ladies Stone Circle. And I felt like it was joyous. I didn't even know what I was doing. I had no idea. I'm like, I'm going to go here. I'm going to do some work. And when you get there, you're kind of told or you feel into what you're doing, whether you've done it before or not. Like if somebody says, how do you do it? You know what? There's no recipe. You go in, you feel it, you see it, you hear it, and you do whatever you're called to do. And this Nine Lady Stone Circle, which I have a picture of myself by, and I love this one because it was joyous. It was run by women. You could see people dancing. I saw myself there as a little girl with another friend dancing, and it was just energy was coming out of it, not going in, and I could feel that. And I would go around and I douse each stone, and if it was going the wrong way, I would try and clear it or put sacred geometry above it. And it was just a beautiful, fun thing, and I loved it, and I got immediately addicted. Fast forward, tons of places in Scotland, tons of places in Ireland, tons of places in England, Colombia, the country, Mexico, the United States. I've gone to all these different sites and never really knowing what I'm doing, but I'm kind of just the cleanup crew. I'll come in, I'll dust you off, get rid of a few energies, wish them away, maybe bring in some ascended masters or guides to help me. And a lot of all of that finally came to fruition about 2 years ago. And I was taken up to a really high dimension, and they were teaching me things. I'm very fortunate. I get taught a lot of things and taught how to use them. But one of the things they were teaching me was how to build energetic bridges. And it was through light language, it was through hand light language and working with these interdimensional beings. And I started building these bridges places. And I was told to build one to one of my friends here in Phoenix, to her meditation area. And I did, because I have a stone circle of my own here in Arizona. So I tied my stone circle to her meditation area. And I was like, oh, that's really cool. Well, in the past couple of years, I've come across more people that have these portals or circles or energetic spaces on their property. There's all of these different energetic sites, mounds, pyramids, circles, standing stones, anything you can think of. They all have a different energetic signature. Well, this past weekend, I got to connect the dots. They built another structure for me. It was like a cylindrical, large in the center of the room, the yurt, made of light with this really detailed and dense written light language on it. Had a lot of X's, had a lot of other things in it. And I'm now connecting into this portal, this cylinder of light, my circle. And then I go to this other friend in Phoenix and another and another and another. And then wham, they take me to every single site I have done earth work or grid work on, any kind of energetic work. And I mean all, but there were two spaces that I'm like, okay, what about this one? No. What about this one? No. And I'm not even sure whether to mention them or not, because I don't want to instill any kind of like fear or anything in anybody. It's not fear-based. They're just not clear enough to be tied in. A lot of these ancient places are just that. They have a lot of ancient energy. They have maybe different civilizations that lived there. And some might have done what we might call horrific things, which was, it could be killing humans, or it could be sacrificing babies. It could be anything. But they didn't just have those bad things, but the energy of those reside in there still, and they need to be cleared out before we can tie them in. And I didn't recognize that either. So I was like, okay, well, I'm glad I know that. I would have just willy-nilly started trying everything in. So that's the kind of the synopsis of how it all came together, piece by piece. I know we always want the full answer and understanding immediately on everything, particularly in today's culture. It's now, now, now. That is not how spirit works. And I think that is a very good tale of how it came about, starting from my childhood, visiting one of these sites when I was in my 20s, moving around the world and working with standing stones and stone circles. And it's just been fascinating. And I called you this week. This week, I'm getting more messages. You need to tie this place in. You need to tie this place in. They want me to tie your place in. They want me to tie your land in. You identified where that circle was. There is some clearing that has to happen there. And I was told very clearly your space needs to be anchored with jasper.
Mm-hmm.
So, whatever the energy is of that jasper and the land is really important.
Mm-hmm.
But I can see the land after it's being cleared, and it is bright and it is full of elemental energy. It's
Mm-hmm.
just thriving with it in ways that I haven't really felt since I lived over in England.
Cool.
Um,
All right, I need to back it up so that I can like broaden our understanding as listeners. I recognize that like throughout your life you have been drawn to working with the energy of certain places and stone circles and monuments and stuff. Like you've just had kind of a natural understanding of that. What is the whole point of, and I want to backtrack and obviously give everyone like very simple practical tools to do these things on their own, whether they believe it or not. That's like definitely an option. But like what is the tying together thing? That's hard to understand, I think.
that is hard to understand. And I'll be honest with you, I'm not sure I completely understand it yet. Again, I'd like, yeah, tell me, how is this going to work? What's going to happen? So, after talking to a couple people and having like a week to just kind of digest this all, what I'm understanding is that these portals are these energetic sites, whatever you want to call them, are going to be almost like bus stations.
Hmm.
And they all hold a separate, different, but equal energetic imprint. Some of these places in Europe, oh my gosh, the signature on those are sometimes they're bringing energy into the earth, some of them are bringing energy out.
Mm-hmm.
One of the places I went was literally an airport for different alien species to come in and out.
So basically the point of it is just sort of energetic healing for land, right?
Energetic healing for land, but not just land. Even though it's on the land, it's
Mm-hmm.
not just for the land, it's for people, it's for galactic travelers, it's for elementals. I also think that because they all have a different energetic imprint, and it's almost like we're each a different ingredient for the cake, and all the different ingredients are, I believe, creating its own portal, almost like a wormhole. Now, where does this go to? I don't know yet. That hasn't been divulged. Is there more to it? I would imagine there is, much more than beyond what my brain can comprehend right now. But to go back to that, we don't get all the answers at once. It's step by step. But I do feel like this is a huge jump, huge jump. Um, there's the place I went to in Colombia was called Guatavita, and you go up on a mountain, and the mountain has a hole in the middle, and it's almost like a funnel, and the water is like unbelievably green, emerald green. But at the apex, the very bottom point of this funnel is the start of a wormhole. It's closed right now. I saw it when I was there. And I think that all of these tying in together, that might be the entrance point for whatever it is we're creating with them together. So that's multifunctional. There's multiple uses for this. 2 or 3 of them I know about right now. I would imagine you're probably going to get another. I'm getting confirmation on that right now. And we'll see. I mean, I think part of it is we can't even imagine everything it can do.
Well, that's some weird ass shit, Tamara.
That is weird ass shit. That is definitely weird ass shit. And I know weird ass.
Yeah, you're the queen. Here's one thing that I've noticed with my family. Like I I know that I have been able to like successfully allow myself to access my psychic gifts. And a big step in that is just the acceptance of knowing that we all are meant to have them. And so with my family a lot, I'll every night I do this game with the kids, and I'm like, I'm putting a bubble around you to keep your frequency high while you sleep. What color is it? 99.9% of the time they both get it right. We're communicating telepathically, and
Okay,
it
I
is,
love that.
it's uncanny. Like one time, I did it with Sai, and or no, Sai chose the bubble color. And then on the count of three, Abel and I both told him that it was yellow. Like, so we're challenging that it's random, right?
You're challenging that it's random, but you're practicing.
Yeah.
You are
And
guys are practicing. I love that.
yeah. And so I went out to dinner with my friend the other night, and Robert was like, I did the bubble because he knows it's an important part of bedtime. And I was like, did they get it right? And he was like, yeah, they both got it right.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
And so, all this to say that there are listeners who are waiting to figure out where and how they're psychic, right? And I'm saying to you, just start asking. Just start asking yourself questions. What does this land feel like? Is there any room in your house that feels different than another room? When doing energy clearing in a house, what rooms feel like they need it and why? Ask yourself. The answers are there, and they will come to you before you're done asking.
Yeah. Yeah. I would say the same thing. The question asking is a really big part. I mean, that's you need a little bit of imagination on asking those questions. Sometimes you don't, but asking is just one way. Everybody has all these different qualities. You might, how many times do you walk into a room and you go, ugh, or like, this place is just butt ugly, I mean, you do, or you walk in someplace. I had another friend, and she was over for 4th of July with her kids, and her son comes in and says, oh my gosh, it feels so good in here, Mom. Now he's 11 years old. Anybody, so that. We know that with people too. So yes, ask the questions. Yes, feel. Sometimes you just smell. Clairsentience,
Yeah.
clairsmellience. I think that's what one of our friends says. Clairsmellience.
Well, we like to talk about clairflatulence.
Yeah, clairflatulence. I fortunately escaped that one. I don't have that.
But yes, this is like your, episode reminder that yes, you have it in you. Yes, just ask the questions. It is there, like I used to suffer from the belief that there was some magical key to getting psychic. It's already there for all of us. So there isn't. There isn't going to be a teacher. There isn't going to be a mentor. There isn't going to be a class. It's really all in you.
It really is. It is all in you, and you know that. But then people are like, "Well, then how? If it's me, how do I access it?" But like you just said, asking those questions is one of the things. Becoming, getting psychic. I'm going to these stone circles that you could only traverse or get to. There's no signage. There's no parking lots, no car parks. You have to find these places by latitude and longitude, literally.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know what I'm doing. And I walk up and I'm like, okay, what do you do? Kind of like energy clearing. You walk in a room or a space or outside. What doesn't feel right? And there's a lot of different things, tools that you can use to help you. I mean, some people grid. They'll like imagine their house as a grid, and they'll go into each square of the grid and figure out it's good here, it's good here, I got to go here. There's
Mm-hmm.
the 5 S's, I call them, which is like salt, sound. God, what are they all? Okay, I'm kind of like sage, silver. So like silver Silver's like, but how can you clear stuff with silver? This is random off the cuff here, but silver, they used to take silver coins and put them in milk to keep the milk fresh longer. They used it for all kind of cleansing. That you used to sleep in the hospitals, you used to have a sheet of silver on the bed to aid with
Oh
your
yeah, colloidal silver. I didn't even think of that.
and colloidal silver. The blue bloods concept were royalty that ate from silver spoons, and the blue came from the silver, but
They
they
turn
did
blue.
that because it help them stay well and fight bacteria. So there's all the regular stuff that you can do, and those are all useful. But I
Hmm.
think if you're this person going, how do I do this? How do I do this? Walk into the space, ask those questions. Maybe do a grid. Maybe you smell something. Maybe you feel something. Maybe any of those options, and then use whatever you're drawn to.
Hmm.
I mean, sound. You can chant. You can gong a bowl. You can put music on. I
Hmm.
always have music on in the house. It
Hmm.
moves stuff.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. It's kind of like get used to expecting to know because we don't, especially when we think we're on a learning path. We don't expect to know. We expect to freak out and call someone else.
we do, but I think what you're doing with your kids is a perfect example of that. They expect to know what color you're thinking of. You expect to know what color they're choosing, and every
Mhm.
single time it does. And that's one of the beauty of children, which is also like the number one go-to cleansing. If you want to need some help, get a child.
Yeah,
They
that's
can
true.
see things so much faster and quicker. They'll say, "Oh, something's wrong over there, over there."
Mhm.
But yeah, if you go in, you don't go in, I don't know if I can do this. No, you go in and say, yeah, I can do it. Let's
Mhm.
go. I got it.
And it doesn't have to be about like fighting the energy. I've learned because I used to like, maybe 20 years ago, I would like sage and be like, get the fuck out of here. But it really doesn't have to be because no energy is disappearing. It's just shifting. So why
Yeah.
bother being mean to it?
So yeah, it's shifting, it's dissipating, it's moving. But to your point again, what was your point? I forget.
Is that I used to say, I used to be like
Oh,
banishing, but now it's more like with love. It's like
yeah.
I hold
So
you up to be transmuted.
yeah, work with the energy.
Yeah.
Work with the energy, and that is a critical thing. And this is one of the examples I wanted to share when I mentioned it earlier. Talking about outdoor space, you're on a pretty wild land there. It hasn't really been touched, manicured in the way that we do here in America. It's been left to the wild, which is a beautiful thing because it is ripe. It is full with elementals, all those beings that help everything grow and tend to the land. One of my brothers, Ted, as a matter of fact, one of the houses he had first moved into with his wife, overgrown completely, just like that. And they spent an entire weekend, 3 days, just pulling everything, cutting everything. And they could not get anything to grow there. Nothing.
Oh my god, he's
Nothing
the
would grow.
last person.
Right, right. Well, he was early in, but it was a huge lesson. It was a huge lesson because he went in probably not even knowing that some of these things were viable or good for the land or that he would want to keep, and they were just like, it's such a mess, let's just get rid of it. But
Mhm.
if he'd actually worked with the elementals, if he'd had felt into that energy of this plant or that plant, if he'd have said, listen guys, this isn't sustainable for us in a house in the city, so we really got to clean it up. We will work with you, we will mind to what you want us to touch and not touch. And then you just feel into it. Is it okay to take this plant? Is it okay to cut this branch off of
Mhm.
this tree? Is it okay to move this plant somewhere else? And many of those answers might be yes, but many of them might be no.
Mhm.
But if you are working outside, you've got to be working with the creatures, with the energy that's already there.
Yeah.
Don't think about clearing it out. You're going to have to work with it.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's interesting because just to note, um, your brother Ted Andrews is like a internationally published and renowned spiritual writer with like probably hundreds of published books.
Yeah, yeah. I think he was in the 40s or something, but did get published in a
Like
lot
I
of.
said, hundreds.
Yeah, yeah. There you go. Same thing. Same thing. I'm the exaggerator.
No, but he comes up all the time. But anyway, I guess even Ted had to learn from his mistakes.
Yeah, everybody. I mean, that's how you learn because we all make mistakes. We don't all do it right. I mean, I don't know what I'm doing half the time. I really don't. But I
No.
just do it and trust that it's right. And most of the time it is. But yeah, there's sometimes I'm like, yikes, that was wrong.
Yeah.
But then you don't do it again. That's how you learn, by making mistakes.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. Like, we're all raised in this culture that is dead set on separating us from our non-physical reality. And so we're finding our way back and we're just kind of like believing in the dark. So we have to let ourselves make weird mistakes.
Yeah.
So, on that note, I think that we may as well like take a look at my land and see what happens. There is this massive magnolia tree in the yard that I'm sure was planted in the 50s when the house was built. And I just found out this is the first house that was built in this area. So it was like alone for a while with this massive magnolia tree growing. And the other day I got into my car and I, out of nowhere, this song called Magnolia. And the first word was Magnolia, started playing from my car out of nowhere. I didn't have my radio on. It was the weirdest thing, but also I instantly was like, the house is talking to me.
So what did the house say?
It felt very much like and I had to ask myself that too immediately, but it felt very much like hey, I'm here, welcome, and communicate with me. It was like the house in the yard, like that was the vibe. And people are always talking about like, oh, my dead dad like always plays, Bon Jovi for me or whatever. They're always talking about spirits communicating through music, but this is the first time I've ever had a tree do it. But that shit was real.
That is such a great story. So I do want to ask you because when you first looked at this house, and I could be wrong about this, your intent because it was so overgrown and right in the middle of the yard, you're thinking, I got to get rid of this thing. And my first thing was like, yikes, no, 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 no. But to that end, and to your credit, unlike my brother, 40 years ago, you're like, no, let me take a moment, let me pause, let me feel this energy, let me talk to this tree, let me communicate and figure out what's going on. And then boom, full circle, it came back around. So often our first go-to is just kind of what we've been taught in school. Oh yeah, we got to go, we got to get rid of everything, clean it all out. But you didn't. You walked back around that post again and said, no, let me think about this, let me feel into it. And that for me is the perfect story for anybody who's doing any kind of energy work on their house or their land. Your first inclination is kind of what we've been taught. Lean into that second inclination, give it a moment, pause, feel into it. Let that tree, let that land, let that rock on the land, let that corner of that room talk to you, work with the energy.
Yeah. Yeah, we have since realized like even though it's crazy big and obstructs a whole massive window, we cannot and will not take it down, but we can research and trim it with respect and permission from the tree.
Yeah, and you do. And I think I told you, ask the kids to go in and talk to the tree as well, because they're able to communicate easier and just say, we have to do this, we have to do a little bit, we don't want to harm you, however they want to say it. And allow them to do that. You're such a good parent that way. You really are. The other reason about that tree is a guardian of the land, but it's not just a guardian of the land where your house sits. It's a guardian of the land of that whole neighborhood. It's a pretty huge area, and to have a tree
Yeah.
like that on your property,
Yeah.
boom, that is like you hit the lottery there. You hit the lottery.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's got grandma vibes. Okay, so let's let's try to look at it together and do a little clearing and just see what happens.
Okay, so I haven't actually seen the yard there. We could do in back, front, side. We just want an overall imprint.
Yeah, let's just look at it. It's like half an acre.
So the first thing that I am seeing a clockwise rotating energy of light. It also is, I'm not going to say cylindrical, but it's definitely not a funnel. It's just kind of coming down to right where the grass is. So it's above your house, not far above, but there's like really beautiful moving energy. So the fact that it's moving tells me, and how I interpret it's going to be like they're going to show you something different for you to interpret it. How I interpret it is because it's going clockwise, I'm thinking this is very positive energy. It's moving very steadily, not fast, not slow, very steady, which tells me it's been there a long time. It's pretty obvious on that. Things and people that are older just have a little bit more calmness about them. That's just what it is. And that land is very calm. It's very calm. It is very dense with elementals. I see I'm going to say, what was Shrek called? What was he? He wasn't a troll. What was he called?
A, I guess a troll. Yeah.
It's kind of like a big troll, kind of like that. And I know often we think, oh, a troll, yuck, but no, trolls they're a little bit grumpy because they just want to keep the land good. They're those people that like the night
Sure,
watchmen.
it's not just Robert.
Yeah. Oh well, it might be a little bit of Robert in him. Might be a cousin of Robert's.
That's funny. Do you know that when you looked at it before you saw the troll? Do you remember that?
I didn't
Probably
remember
not.
that. Yeah.
Okay. Well, in case you want validation that you already saw the
Well,
troll.
there you go. Yeah. He's sitting like if your mulberry tree is here, if you're at the house looking at the mulberry tree, is it in the back, the mulberry tree?
Magnolia tree?
Oh, magnolia, sorry, yeah. It's in the
Yeah,
back.
it's
So
in the back. Yeah.
back, see the tree, it's to the left, down in the corner of your property. That's where
Okay.
yeah.
Okay, got it.
There is I can see a trail of where a lot of indigenous people walked across that land.
Mm-hmm.
As they walked, and I think this is what the one big energy is. There's others, but as they walked, they were in a bit of a state of despair.
Mm-hmm.
Long journey on foot. They were physically tired. They were mentally tired, and they'd left. It was a long walk all across the neighborhood, across the state. They left a lot of that despair.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a perfect example of, we inherit things from our grandparents or whatever. It still has the energy of whatever was going on in the house, in their house at that time, 50, 100 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
So just be aware, those are the kind of things that happen all the time. We buy stuff, used or antiques. Those things carry. I've got a door from China hanging up as art here in the house, and that thing had some energy. I mean, that was, but those people on their journey, not meaning to, but that's just going to happen. They left it. So can we clear it right now?
Yeah, with respect to their pain and hardship.
Absolutely. So I don't know what that is. The women are turning around to look. The men keep walking. And they give us a nod that it's okay. So again, for me, it's asking permission, working with the energy. So I am now going to take this circle of light that is above your house, above your half acre there, and I'm going to start spinning it counterclockwise. And you can do this however you want. You could open the roof of your house, or you could take a rake and rake it off. I'm just going to suction it up Imagination also comes in really strongly here, but I'm going to suck it up with an etheric vacuum. And there's not a lot here, but there was a long time when people walked across that land. So it went on for some time. So I'm just going to take a breath in, and as I exhale, I'm going to hold that energy up through this circle of light, and we're just going to let it go off and send it. We're going to send it with love. We're going to send it for intention and thank it for basically being a part of this property for a long time. There's a little bit left on the back side of your property in the back right corner. Okay, they want you to put some sort of, I'm going to say, statue or bird bath or some sort of sculpture piece. It could even be of rocks, but it's almost it's like a remembrance, a memorial to their journey. So they're leaving a small piece there that does not want to come. And again, you've got kids, I'd bring them in and say, hey guys, where is this? And it can be something natural, but it needs to be with the intent of thank you for journeying across my property. Thank you for being a part of it. And you don't even have to tell anybody else what it was about. They're just going to look out and say, I just see a bird bath there. Or I see that beautiful stone, but let them do that. And it would be really nice to have flowers around it. The women are telling me. And let me just ask, is it a yellow flower? No. Is it a white flower? Yeah, a white flower. And if it could be like perennial, so it stays around for a couple seasons, that'd be great. All right, let's go look at the sides. I'm going to look at the right side now. As you're standing at the front door, I'm looking at the right side. It looks pretty good till you get up to the front corner of the house. Do I need, yeah. And I ask this a lot. Do I need to know what it was? Sometimes they want to tell you. Sometimes it's not necessary. We can just feel it. We don't have to know about it. And this is a one we don't have to know about. I'm going to ask you, because I know what I would do, but we've got this like 1 foot square area right at that front right corner of your house. In that area, maybe off 6 feet, how would you clear this out?
Is it inside? I think it's like the room that I've been trying to work on.
Oh. Yeah, it is, but it's infiltrated outside of that room to that corner of the land too.
Okay.
So when you do this, it's going to have to be both of them at once.
Okay.
Okay, because it's definitely it's come out not far, but it's like if you get a leak on the inside of your house and then it kind of goes through the walls to the outside. This is leaked out.
Yeah, it's like it's shifted a ton inside that room, but it's still not perfect.
Did you? I know you had a house inspection. Did you check for mold in that corner? Did they find any mold in the house?
I don't know.
I'm just seeing some black in there. I'm interpreting it as a mold, but it may not be. It could just be a black energy.
Mm-hmm.
But
I did see the black energy in the doorway.
Okay, yeah. All right. Well, he doesn't want to go. He's very resistant.
He has to go because that's where the kids sleep. And we're really tired of them sleeping on our floor.
Oh my gosh. All right, let's see if we can do this now. This one's pretty sticky. I'm seeing this as a man. This is how I'm seeing it, masculine.
Yeah.
I would say older, like not 80s, but maybe late 50s, 60s.
Yeah, this resonates.
There's a hat there, but I was asking it was the black hat man, and it's not the black hat man.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, because I was like, oh, I don't want to ask that question, but yeah, they said no, so that's good. So, okay, so they are telling me this. He was like a master of the house, but when I say master, it's like the master of a southern plantation.
Ew.
Yeah, I know. That's why it's ick. It's really kind of ick. I don't think it's about slaves, but he was not benevolent. by any means.
Hmm. I wonder if
So,
was it the husband of the original owners? It's like my neighbor's grandma was the first person to own it, I guess.
oh, so that would have been, I I would say it was over 100 years ago.
Well, it was built in the 50s.
Oh, I see.
So does it
Okay, so it may not be the house, it could be the land. And that's where, there might have been another property or something there that,
Mm. Yeah, I'll have to look.
yeah, I don't know. Let me,
I got to do some research on the
yeah, I think you
historical.
could go back in land records and see who the owners were. Like who were the owners before that this house was built?
Okay.
And was it the first house on the land?
That's
There was a dwelling there for certain.
There was a
Um,
different dwelling.
yeah,
Okay.
because I'm feeling this is about 100, 110, 20 years old. This
Interesting.
guy.
Okay.
So I just let's just we're going to surround him in a bubble. I like that bubble technique. We're going to
Mhm.
put a very crystal clear bubble around him.
Mhm.
It's malleable, kind of like when you're blowing bubbles. Kids are blowing bubbles from the jar. It's very
Mhm.
malleable. And he's actually softened having put him in here.
Yeah, he's a little confused.
So we just need to communicate with him for a minute. So I normally would do this in my head, but I'll do it vocally. Um, this is an energy that can't be in this house anymore. It can't be on this land. There was a time for you to be here, but now it is time for you to leave. This is a new energetic space. We know that you did in this life what you had to do, what you felt you had to do, but we're going to release that now, and we're going to release you from this space. We send you healing. We send you light inside of this bubble, outside of this bubble, and we send you away with love. And I am just energetically, I've got my hand behind the bubble of his back, and I'm just ushering him out through the wall, through that segment of the land there on the corner of the house.
Mhm.
And I'm just going to lift and let him go up to other ethers. And he is confused. He keeps looking back.
Yeah.
You're going to need to burn a violet candle in there. Let it go. I would say you got to let it go for at least an hour to 2 hours if you can. When you think violet flame, that's the kind of candle you want to get. 1, 2, 3. They want you to do it for 7 nights. And then on the 8th day, during the day, you burn a bright white candle and put some white crystals, some clear crystals around it. Open the windows, open the doors, clean. Yeah, you should be okay in about 8 days.
Well, fuck. We're leaving town tomorrow for like 5 days.
Oh my God, too funny. Well, just do it when you come back. I mean, we're also looking at time the way we look at time. So start it today.
Yeah.
Okay. We know time shifting all the time. Start it today. I don't know what time you leave tomorrow. Maybe you could burn the candle for a couple hours before you leave.
Yeah.
At least start loosening up that energy. Start like, when you start scrubbing a sink and it gets dirtier before it gets clean, we'll start moving that around a little bit. And then you can complete it when you come back.
Yeah. Well, little did we know that this was going to be
Who would have thought?
I don't know. Would you consider that to be a ghost? Because I kind of wouldn't really.
I mean, you can call it a ghost, you can call it an entity, you can call it a dark energy, you can call it anything you want. I just call him like a guy that wasn't very nice that was still hanging around the house.
It was like an energetic signature, but would you consider it to be an earthbound spirit?
That's a good question. I wouldn't consider him to be an earthbound spirit. No. I think he just liked being there. It's like, when you're the last person to leave the bar, you're like, get the hell out of here, guy. I got to clean up. He just likes to stay.
The annoying guy that won't leave the party.
He could go. He could go earlier, but he didn't want to.
Hmm. Okay, we'll have to check back in with him. Okay, is there anything else that we should look at on the land? Because I feel like with that exception, I mean, we'll see, but is there anything else that you're seeing on the land
on the land.
or, the big
Yeah,
picture?
the left side looks pretty clear. Left side looks really clear. It also looks like your grass is going to grow beautifully there. Like, I don't know what the land looks like, but if it doesn't have grass now, that was where grass grew beautifully. Just enough sun, just enough shade, just enough soil nutrients, really thick and lush.
We're not super into grass, but we are letting the, we're kind of making it so everything kind of can grow wild.
Yeah. Okay. So that they're showing me grass, but the intent of all of that is that whatever grows there, it's going to grow fruitiously.
Yeah.
It's going to grow with ease.
Yeah.
Because the land has got everything in it it needs to support it.
Yeah.
And it's the right amount of light. So whether that's grass, wildflowers, yeah. Okay, coming around to the front of the house. The front of the house doesn't feel bad. It feels kind of, I don't want to say abandoned, but it hasn't really been loved.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of been ignored. And it's asking, don't ignore me, put some love into me.
Yeah.
It's not like it's ugly and it's full of rats and, weeds and everything. It's like nobody even noticed to do anything there. So do something there. And it doesn't have to be done at once. Build on it. Give it a little gift. Then give it another gift next year. Then another gift the next year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there was someone that used to live here that was like super into gardening and really loved paying attention to the yard. But now, as a result, we just have like a bunch of like, no offense, but ratty rose bushes and, stuff that we wouldn't have planted that's just been neglected. And we're like, woof. Like, I mean,
So, all right. So that brings to mind another thing. Again, it has been untended, it hasn't been kept.
mm-hmm.
And it's asking to please show me some love again. Donating things, this is going to be like kind of on point, but off point. As you get rid of those rose bushes, as you get rid of some of those things, again, work with the energies, work with the elementals, but then gift those rose bushes or those whatever you're picking up if you can, if they're still viable.
Mm-hmm.
Gift them to someone. Don't throw them in the garbage.
Yeah.
Okay. It's again honoring the energy that was already there.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to honor you. You're allowing me to change it, but I'm not going to just toss you willy nilly or start a fire in the backyard. I'm going to take these to the school to plant. Maybe donate them to the kids' new school and say you can teach them about tending for the roses and the kids do whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah. Yeah, because there's a lot of people out there that probably can't afford some plants but would love some for their yard.
Yeah.
So yeah, intention. Just yeah, be careful. The land is very, very happy. The yard is very happy that you're there because they're feeling like, oh, my favorite aunt just came. My favorite aunt, she's going to be so much fun. She's going to feed me the things I want. She's going to take care of me. And there's this like underlayment of excitement in it. Really, it's kind of exciting to me. I'm excited. I'm feeling the excitement of it.
Yeah. That's cool. Amazing. Okay. Well, how do people book readings with you? I know that like my friend just got like an amazing reading with you, but your selections are kind of like what's the word?
Weird.
Akashic you made me choke. Akashic record reading or like the other like activation reading. But if someone wants to book a like home or land investigation with you, what should they book?
That's really interesting. I didn't even think about putting that on my website.
Well, why don't we just say that they can, until you put it on there, they could just book a Akashic record reading and leave in the notes what they want to look at.
Yeah, definitely. There are definitely people. There's real estate agents that work with people that come to clear properties they're selling and properties they're buying. There's a lot of people that can do it out there. But I really believe you need to work with the person that is selling their house or moving into a house,
Yeah.
because it's you, it's your energy, it's your family. You're going to be, as we're exiting out all of these different densities and healing things, it opens the window for magic. It opens the window for a whole lot of new energy to come in, and
Yeah.
that new energy is you and your family.
Hmm.
So you have to be a part of the process. It's easy to say let someone else do it, but you got to be a part of the process.
Yeah, I agree. And that's like goes back to all of the things that we've been saying. Like, ask yourself questions. Like, I knew that that corner, I didn't know, like, I wasn't clairvoyantly seeing the graphic details, but I knew that I was like cleaning up the gunk in that specific part of the house and it just wasn't complete yet. So one does have to be involved in their own home and land.
They do. And to your credit, because you're living there, because you're planting your energies there, you're going to feel them slightly different than I am going to, or
Hmm.
with different eyes than I see. But the way you clear it will leave the imprint for you to put your energies in there. So,
Hmm.
like I said, if you rip out those rose bushes and then toss them, well, they've been nurtured by that land for a long time. And
Yeah.
if you plant something new, they're going to think, the plant is going to think, well, they're going to do the same thing with me in 20 years. So,
Right.
so that's again part of being part of that process. It's important
All right.
because
Well, could
yeah,
you answer this before we sign off? Like, I know that I get the impression that it's going to be beneficial for me to ask the land, ask the magnolia tree permission, or ask the guardians of the land permission before we do things, because we're going to be doing a lot. We're going to be building a whole arm onto the house, right on top of that ghost guy. Um, um,
well, it's just nice to make challenges for yourself, isn't
yes.
it?
So, like, how would you ask permission? And like, I've been asking permission for everything, but, and sometimes it's hard to feel like I know I'm getting an permission.
Okay, I mean, you can do a lot of simple things. You can douse. You can say, do what you're doing, ask. If you're not really sure, you could dowse.
Mhm.
That's an easy way to do it. I have pendulums all over the house. I still dowse sometimes. I mean, it doesn't matter who you are. Sometimes you're like, it's not clear. I ask yes and no questions. So that's easy. But you can dowse in other ways.
That's actually true. And I recently heard this sort of revelation for pendulums for me, and it was that pendulums aren't magical necessarily. I mean, they are divination, but they aren't necessarily dictated by a spirit or your guide or something. They're actually, the direction that the pendulum swings or spins is actually dictated by your higher self.
Exactly.
And it's
Exactly.
like that kind of bridges the understanding between thinking like, oh, well, I'm just in charge of this, but because it's true, you are, but on a level that you're you're not really cognizant of.
Right, right. And I agree 100% with that. Just stand there. Ask the question, is it clear? Is it okay? And like leaning forward is one answer, leaning back is
Oh
another.
yeah.
And your body will just automatically do it.
If you ask my land permission to like trim the lower branches of the magnolia tree, or ask the tree, you would potentially hear yes or no, right?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
Well, that makes it easy, doesn't it?
Yeah, so are you asking me?
No, I don't need you to do it, but I do want to figure out if how to do that myself.
You can do it. The tree is absolutely saying yes that you can do it, but just make sure you do it. Like talk to a good tree guide or person that can help you with that. But here's the caveat: the wood that you take, you've got to do something with it on your land there.
Oh, geez.
So maybe make that your homage to the Native Americans that traverse the property. Um, Whatever you want to do, you can make. I don't know what you're going to do, but use it on your property there somehow.
Okay, well, I happen to live with a woodworker, so we'll figure it out.
All right.
Okay.
Yeah,
All right.
the land doesn't want to give up very much there. It's very energetically sound and strong, and it doesn't really want to get rid of much of anything, which is a good thing. You know, it's a good, strong piece of land.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but yeah, recycle you must. I'm just going to say, recycle you must.
Okay. Okay, I just wanted to interject because I did some research after we recorded this episode. And I did some land research. And in the mid 1800s, this swath of Oregon was owned by this man, Robert something or other. And when he moved north to investigate parts of Washington, he sold it to this judge. And as soon as I read about them and their names, I got a little like creeped out. And my first thought was, oh, it was the judge. he's the hanger on. And then I read what I found to Tamara in a voice memo without telling her my opinion. And she gets back to me and she's like, yep, it was the judge. So I just wanted to give a little bit of an update on that growth. And I also wanted to say that if you want to follow along on my strange adventure that is basically the weirdest HGTV show in history because it's about psychic stuff, home renovation, and small business ownership and family life, follow me on TikTok at the Suki Frequency, and you can follow along with the adventure. There's like 8 short episodes so far, and they will continue, and it'll get especially interesting once we start actually redesigning this place. Okay, so how can people book readings with you? Now they're going to be home and land readings. Enjoy.
Yeah, now that I'm adding more things. Core Spiritus Anima, which will be, I think, in your notes,
.com.
.com, yeah.
Is that how you say that? Yeah, I'll leave it in my notes because who wants to spell it? Not me.
Yeah, not me.
Okay, cool.
Not me for sure. Wow, that was really cool to do that with you. That was awesome. I cannot wait to come visit that land.
Yeah, it'll be fun. You can stay in our Airstream.
Oh, wait a minute. It brings a tear to my eye.
Oh my God, you're crazy. I would cry too. I'll be crying when I'm living in it.
Yeah. How long you're going to live in it the whole time, huh? Till you get it done?
Well, we're not starting right away because we need permits, but we're just gonna, I don't know, we're just gonna make it work. We'll live in various stages of construction and see what happens.
Like, what do you guys? Can you cook in there in the Airstream?
Yeah, a little bit. Whatever. It's gonna be crazy, but it'll be interesting.
All right.
Just
Well,
left.
yeah. Hey, thanks a million. Thanks a million.
Thanks for your time today. And I will link all your stuff in the show notes.
In the show notes. Yeah. Yeah, really good to see you.
You too.
I keep hearing, by the way, I just keep hearing you need to get a big boulder, a big rock in there.
A big boulder?
A big, and I'm not sure why, and I don't even know why I'm going to tell you the story, but when my 2 boys turned 2 and 3, because their days are one day apart. Mm-hmm. There was a quarry by where we lived in Charlotte, North Carolina. Mm-hmm. And I went down to the quarry. They let me go down in there and pick out 2 rocks. Because every time we go to the park, they got the swings and the slides. They were off by the woods playing on a rock. And I'm like, why in the hell am I doing it? So I got a huge boulder. And I remember it was $12 per ton.
Oh my God.
$12 per ton. And a local guy delivered them, and we put one in the back and one in the front, and every kid in the neighborhood came over just to play on those rocks.
That's amazing.
They were flat on top. They would paint them. They'd have picnics on them, King of the Mountain. But there's something, besides the kids aspect, there's something about having a boulder in the front yard.
Yeah. I knew that's where it would go too. That's so weird. Because we also just went to a yard sale, and Robert went out of his way to compliment this woman's boulder. It sounds like something I should be jealous about, but no, like
I,
she had a massive boulder in her front yard that was beautiful.
so there you go. You got sometime, in the next couple of years, they're saying within 2 years is what they're telling me. You need to get a boulder for the front.
No problem.
I think it's going to, what, and I don't know where you're going to get the boulder from or what it's going to look like, but you'll know when you see it.
Yeah, that makes total sense with how we're designing it. So I think that will be amazing.
Okie dokie, artichoke.
Okay, everybody, get Tamara to look at your land. All right, thank you. I'll talk to you soon.
Toodles.
Thanks so much for listening. We hope you enjoyed today's conversation as much as we did. Be sure to subscribe and follow us wherever you get your podcasts so that you never miss a new episode. If you liked today's episode, please consider leaving a review to help the other psychics find their way here.